All right, let's dive into Victor Hugo's Les Misérables today.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too.
We're going to be exploring some selections,
Okay.
focusing on the themes of poverty, justice,
Mm-hmm.
and compassion. And just a heads up,
Okay.
Hugo doesn't pull any punches.
Oh, I know.
His characters and the situations they find themselves in are really
Uh-huh.
complex. But luckily,
Oh,
I have an expert here with me today
uh-huh.
to help us unpack all the literary and historical nuances.
I'll do my best.
You ready to dig in?
Absolutely. Let's dive into Hugo's masterpiece. It's
Okay.
it's a treasure trove of a thought-provoking material.
Perfect. So let's start with Bishop Muriel.
Okay.
He's often seen as a symbol of radical compassion.
You know, what's striking about the bishop's compassion is that
Yeah.
it goes beyond just simple charity.
Right.
It's rooted in a deep understanding of the complexities of, like the human experience. And he doesn't just offer material assistance.
Right.
He offers a chance at redemption,
Yeah.
a belief in the possibility of change. And this is especially important when you think about the context of 19th century France,
Okay.
where attitudes towards criminals were often
Right.
very harsh, very unforgiving.
Yeah.
So his actions were really revolutionary.
Yeah. And it's not just about giving Jean Valjean, the ex-convict,
Yeah.
a meal
Yeah.
when he steals the silverware.
Right.
It's about that pivotal moment when the bishop says,
Yeah.
"This silver is yours. I bought your soul for God."
Oh, such a powerful line.
I know, right?
So powerful.
That line always resonates with me.
I know exactly what you mean.
It really encapsulates the bishop's radical belief
Mm-hmm.
in redemption and his willingness to act on that belief,
Yeah.
even if it means defying societal norms.
Exactly. And for Jean Valjean, I mean, imagine
Yeah.
imagine being hardened by years of prison life
Right.
and suddenly encountering this profound kindness. It forces him,
To reconsider.
to confront his past choices, and consider the possibility of a different future.
Absolutely. And the bishop's impact, it extends
Dif-
beyond Jean Valjean, too.
Yay.
There are all these anecdotes about him.
Yes.
Helping villagers with harvests.
Oh, yeah.
Encouraging families to resolve disputes peacefully.
He's like a model.
Yeah, it's like he's constantly
Uh-huh.
modeling an alternative way of being
Exactly.
in the world, one based on
Yeah.
empathy and understanding.
Right, and his approach really challenges
Yeah.
the prevailing social order at the time,
Mm-hmm.
which was often characterized by,
Like rigid.
rigid hierarchies
Yeah.
and a focus on punishment
Yeah.
rather than rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So by emphasizing forgiveness and second chances,
Right.
he presents a different model for
Yeah.
social interactions.
It's like he's saying there's another way.
There is one that prioritizes
Compassion.
compassion and understanding.
And it just makes you wonder how we can be more like the
Uh-uh.
bishop in our own lives.
Such a good question.
How can we challenge the systems that
Yeah.
perpetuate injustice and
Right.
instead create a world where everyone
Yeah.
has the opportunity for redemption
Redemption.
and second chances
That's the question Hugo wants us
to
to
wrestle with?
grapple with, yeah. But
I-
Les Miserables doesn't shy away from the harsh realities
Right.
that make these questions so difficult to answer.
Yeah.
And this is where Fantine's story comes in.
Okay.
Her journey offers kind of a stark contrast
Okay.
to the bishop's idealism.
Right.
It's a painful illustration
Mm,
of how societal structures can fail
right.
the most vulnerable.
Her story is heartbreaking. She starts
Yes, it is.
as a young woman deeply in love with a student,
Right.
Bolognese. And while it seems romantic at first,
Sure.
it quickly descends into this tragic reality
Yeah.
that many women faced in that era.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Abandoned by Tholomyès and left to care for their daughter,
Right.
Cosette, Fantine is thrust into this desperate struggle for survival.
Yeah.
And Hugo pulls no punches in depicting
Right.
the injustices that she faces.
Yeah.
Exploitation by her employers, relentless pursuit by creditors,
Yeah.
and ultimately, the agonizing decision to sell her hair
Her hair and her teeth.
and teeth just for money, just to
I-
provide for her child.
It's so difficult to read about
Yeah.
her descent into poverty and desperation.
It's tough.
The scene where she confronts Javert,
Oh, yeah.
the police inspector,
Yes.
after being wrongly accused is
Ooh.
particularly gut-wrenching.
He's literally on her knees pleading for mercy.
It's so hard to read.
It is. And in that scene, she cries out, Monsieur Javert, I beseech your mercy. I assure you I was not in the wrong.
It's just palpable.
Her desperation is just palpable, yeah.
And she's a victim of circumstance.
Totally.
Trapped in a system that seems designed to punish.
Right. Rather than protect.
Really makes you think.
But even amidst all this despair,
Yeah.
her eloquence is striking.
Right. She talks about how she used to have so much linen, how she's not a bad woman at heart.
Yeah. And it's a reminder that poverty doesn't define a person's worth.
Exactly.
And her fierce maternal love for Cosette.
Oh, absolutely.
Just shines through in her darkest moments.
Yeah.
She pleads, don't put me in prison. You see, there's a little girl who will be turned out into the street to get along as best she may in the very heart of the winter.
Heartbreaking.
It's this love that keeps her fighting.
Keeps her going.
Even as the world seems to be
Crumbling.
And, her story resonates with a painful truth.
Yeah.
There were and still are countless women like her, struggling against systems that seem rigged against them.
Yeah.
Hugo uses her journey to expose, the vulnerability of women who lacked social and economic support.
In that era.
Back then.
It forces us to confront the question of what justice truly means.
Yes.
Is it simply the rigid application of the law as embodied by Javert? Or is it something more nuanced, something that takes into account the complexities of individual circumstances and the systemic factors that contribute to poverty and desperation?
Big questions.
Huge questions.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how Jean Valjean's path intersects with Fantine's, highlighting this complex interplay of justice, compassion, and the cyclical nature of poverty.
It all comes back around.
Remember that stolen silverware from the bishop?
Oh, yeah. How could we forget?
That seemingly small act sets Jean Valjean on an entirely new trajectory.
A whole new life.
Yeah, and it's a dramatic shift. He abandons his former life, takes on a new identity, becomes Monsieur Madeleine.
But it's not just a simple name change.
It's a transformation.
It's a complete transformation.
Yeah, he becomes a successful factory owner.
Wow.
And the mayor of Montreuil-sur-Mer.
A mayor?
Known for his philanthropy and dedication to helping the poor.
Like a complete 180.
It's as if the bishop's act of grace sparked something profound within him.
It's like a ripple effect.
Leading to this genuine desire to make amends for his past and contribute to a more just world. He embodies this idea that even those who have stumbled can choose a different path.
They can.
But this newfound life of respectability
here we go.
Is challenged when another man is mistaken for Jean Valjean.
What?
And arrested.
Oh, my God.
This sets up one of the most compelling moral dilemmas in the novel.
It's so good.
Jean Valjean is forced to choose between protecting his new life and risking everything to save an innocent man.
What a predicament.
It's one of those moments where you're just
on the edge of your seat.
On the edge of your seat, wondering what he'll do.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's wrestling with his conscience. Weighing his newfound respectability.
Yeah.
And good works against the potential suffering.
Of an innocent person.
The internal struggle is intense.
Oh, it's palpable.
He grapples with his desire for a peaceful life. The fear of losing everything he's built. And the moral imperative to do what's right.
No matter the cost.
Regardless of the personal costs.
So much pressure.
And then comes that dramatic courtroom scene.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Where he reveals his true identity. To save the wrongly accused man.
It's a moment of pure self-sacrifice.
It's just pure self-sacrifice. He risks everything.
Everything.
To uphold justice. That act demonstrates the depth of his transformation.
It really does.
He's no longer driven by self-preservation. But by a profound sense of moral responsibility. It's a powerful testament.
It is.
To the idea that true redemption lies in aligning your actions with your conscience, no matter
what.
Personal risk.
Exactly. And what strikes me is how Hugo shows us that transformation isn't
not a straight line.
A linear process. Jean Valjean, he stumbles.
He makes mistakes. But ultimately, he strives to be a better man.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we're all capable of growth and change.
Yeah.
His story invites us to reflect on
our own.
our own capacity for redemption. It asks us to consider what sacrifices we're willing to make for the sake of justice. And it reminds us that even small acts of compassion, like the bishop's gesture towards Jean Valjean, can have this ripple effect, setting in motion a chain of events that can lead to profound transformation.
Yeah, it's incredible, right?
Amazing.
How one act of kindness can have such far-reaching
consequences. And speaking of consequences, we can't forget about Cosette.
Right.
Her journey is so intertwined with Jean Valjean's.
Yes.
And it raises a whole other set of questions about innocence, resilience, and the enduring power of hope.
So many big themes.
So we'll dive into that after a quick break.
Sounds good.
It's incredible how one act of kindness can have such far-reaching consequences.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
And speaking of consequences, we can't forget about Cosette.
Oh, Cosette.
Her journey is so intertwined with Jean Valjean's.
It really is. Their fates are kind of like linked together.
And it raises a whole other set of questions.
Yes, it does.
About innocence, resilience, and the enduring power of hope.
So many big themes to unpack there.
Yeah, her story.
I know.
It's both heartbreaking and...
Oh, so heartbreaking.
Ultimately uplifting.
But ultimately, she finds her way.
She does.
She starts out, I mean, her life begins with this horrific abuse and neglect at the hands of...
the Thénardiers.
The Thénardiers, right. Who took her in, but not out of compassion.
No, not at all.
Purely for...
financial gain.
Yeah, financial gain.
It's hard to fathom the cruelty...
oh, it's awful.
that she faces as a child.
They exploit her.
They force her to work like a servant.
Yeah, like a slave.
Denying her even the most basic needs.
Right, and they subject her to this constant...
abuse.
Verbal and emotional abuse.
There's that one scene...
I know which one you're going to say.
where she's playing with the doll.
Oh, that scene kills me.
Just longing for this love and happiness that she's never known.
She just wants a family, a loving home.
It's so poignant.
It really underscores vulnerability of children.
It does.
And the just devastating impact of greed and indifference.
It really highlights how adults can fail children.
They really fail her.
Hugo doesn't hold back.
He doesn't.
In portraying the ugliness of their exploitation.
And, you know, it's a stark reminder that...
yeah, even in a society that claims to value justice, the innocent can suffer immensely and...
and it makes Jean Valjean's decision to rescue her all the more powerful.
It's such a heroic act.
Absolutely.
When Jean Valjean enters Cosette's life.
It's a turning point.
Oh, it's a pivotal moment for
both of them.
Both of them. He pays this, like, exorbitant price to buy her from the Thénardier.
Basically.
And it shows, I mean, it really demonstrates his commitment.
To rescuing her.
To getting her out of there.
You know, I see that as a direct consequence of the bishop's kindness earlier.
It's like he's paying it forward.
It's like he's paying it forward. He's extending that same grace.
Extending that grace.
To Cosette.
Beautiful observation.
Jean Valjean becomes Cosette's protector.
Right, like a father figure.
Her father figure.
Giving her everything she needs.
Yeah, offering her love, stability.
That's nurturing.
Nurturing.
Which she so desperately needs.
I mean, of course, her early experiences.
Of course. I have left scars.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just erase trauma like that, you know?
But Cosette shows remarkable resilience.
She really does. It's amazing how, like, she
bounces back.
She bounces back, right. There's this
fascinating contrast.
The beautiful.
Between the darkness she's endured and the hope
right.
that she manages to hold on to.
Yeah, despite everything, she
still believes.
Maintains a certain innocence.
Yeah.
A belief in the possibility of goodness.
It's so moving.
It's incredibly moving, and it speaks to, you know,
what?
The enduring strength of the human spirit, especially in children.
Yeah.
Cosette's ability to find hope amid such darkness.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of human connection.
Yeah.
And the potential for healing even after profound trauma.
It really is. And these individual stories, they're so captivating. But we have to remember that Hugo was weaving this complex tapestry.
Oh, yeah. He's got a bigger picture in mind.
Of social commentary through Les Misérables.
He's making a statement.
We've talked about justice and compassion. But what about the larger themes of poverty, social inequality, and the systems that perpetuate these issues?
Those are huge.
Right.
Hugo was deeply concerned with the plight of the poor and marginalized in 19th century France.
Absolutely.
He uses Les Misérables as a platform to expose the systemic injustices that contributed to their suffering.
And we see it everywhere in the novel.
We see it everywhere, yeah.
Fantine's struggles to find work and provide for her child.
Right.
The desperation that drives Jean Valjean to steal bread.
Right.
Even the Thénardier's descent into criminality.
It's all connected.
These are all symptoms
of a bigger problem.
of a larger societal ill.
A societal ill, yeah.
And he doesn't just present these issues as abstract concepts.
It makes it real.
He gives them faces, names,
yeah.
stories.
He makes us see.
We see the human cost of poverty, the toll it takes on individuals and families.
It's not just statistics.
This makes his critique all the more powerful. He forces us to confront the individuals.
The individuals.
They're often dehumanized and ignored.
Right. By society.
By society.
Yeah.
He forces us to acknowledge their suffering, their resilience, and their inherent worth.
Powerful stuff.
And it's also interesting to consider how those in power,
like Javert,
often perpetuate the cycle of poverty and injustice.
He's part of the problem.
His rigid adherence to the law blinds him.
Blinds him to the
nuances.
Yeah, to the nuances
of individual circumstances.
Of people's lives.
He represents a system.
Yeah, a broken system.
That prioritizes punishment. Over rehabilitation.
Yeah, it's all about punishment.
And overlooks the systemic factors that contribute to crime and despair.
It ignores the root causes.
It's a crucial point.
I think
Javert's character highlights the limitations.
Yeah. Of just looking at the law.
Of a purely legalistic approach to justice.
It makes you wonder.
It begs the question.
Yeah.
What does true justice
What does it look like?
Is it about blindly following the letter of the law? Or is it about recognizing the complexities of human experience? And striving to create a society that offers opportunities for redemption and second chances.
Big questions.
And this is where the theme of compassion becomes so critical.
It's essential.
The bishop's actions show us
they really do.
That even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect.
It's amazing.
Challenging the status quo.
Yeah, and inspiring others.
And inspiring others to break the cycle.
To make a difference.
Of poverty and injustice.
It's not about being perfect. You know,
it's not about trying. It's about recognizing the humanity in everyone, even those who have stumbled or made mistakes, and offering them support and understanding. It's about challenging our own biases.
Well, that's a tough one.
And preconceptions.
And working towards a better world,
a more equitable and just society.
Yeah,
where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Exactly, and you know, I think it's important to note.
What's that?
That Hugo doesn't offer
easy answers.
Easy answers in Les Misérables. He raises more questions than he answers.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you think, you know?
To
think critically about these complex issues.
Yeah, he doesn't give us a simple solution.
It's not a fairy tale.
He just presents this.
He presents the complicated reality. Yeah, and that's the brilliance of his work.
Yeah.
It's a timeless masterpiece. You know, it continues to resonate with us.
It does.
Because it speaks to these enduring challenges.
Or the human condition.
Of the human condition. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. About ourselves.
And the world we live in.
The world we've created.
It pushes us to examine our
values,
values and actions.
It asks us.
What role do we play?
What role do we play?
In perpetuating or challenging injustice.
Are we part of the problem or part of the solution?
How can we contribute?
How can we make a difference?
To a more compassionate and equitable society.
Those are questions that each of us has to
grapple with.
Yeah, to wrestle with.
And while Les Misérables is set in a specific historical context.
Right, it's 19th century France.
The themes it explores.
They're universal.
Are universal and timeless.
They transcend time and place.
They remain relevant in our world today.
Maybe even more so now.
Perhaps even more so.
It's a reminder that we're all connected, that our actions have consequences, and that we have a responsibility to work towards a better future.
Absolutely. It's a story that stays with you long after
it really does.
You finished reading it.
It makes you think.
Yeah.
It makes you feel.
Makes you feel.
And it makes you question the world around you.
Yeah.
That's the power.
That's the power.
Of great literature.
It has the ability to
move us.
Move us.
To challenge
us.
And to inspire us.
Inspire us to act.
To make a difference.
Yeah. It's amazing how Hugo manages to weave together these like grand themes with such intricate character development and these really compelling storylines.
I know, right? It's a testament to his skill as a writer.
Yeah.
He was a master.
A master of his craft.
Oh, yeah.
He could create these like sweeping panoramas of society, but also zoom in on the intimate details of individual lives.
It's incredible, and he did it with such
passion and conviction. We can't forget about the historical backdrop either.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
The French Revolution, the Napoleonic Wars, the social unrest of the 19th century.
It all plays a role.
These events loom large.
They do.
In Les Misérables, adding another layer of complexity to the story.
Hugo was deeply engaged with the political and social upheavals of his time, and he believed in the power.
He believed in the power of literature.
To
inspire change.
To make a difference.
And Les Misérables is a powerful indictment of the injustices and inequalities that plagued 19th century France.
And it's a call to action to readers,
to confront
the injustices
of their own time.
And
that's what makes it so relevant.
Today,
the specific historical context might be different.
Right.
But the themes
are timeless.
Of poverty, social inequality, and the struggle for justice.
Those are always relevant.
But still incredibly relevant.
Absolutely.
Les Misérables transcends its historical setting.
I think so.
It speaks to the human condition.
Yeah.
The enduring challenges.
The challenges.
Of creating a more just and compassionate world.
It's a story that just
resonates with
readers.
Readers across generations and cultures.
Across time and space.
It's a reminder that we're all
connected, that our actions have consequences.
Right, our actions have consequences.
Yeah.
And that we have a responsibility.
To
work towards a better future.
To make the world a better place.
It's a story that stays with you.
No.
Long after you finish reading it.
It really does.
It makes you think, it makes you feel.
Question.
It makes you question the world around you.
Absolutely. And that's the power.
That's the power of great literature.
To move us, to challenge us.
To inspire us to act.
To make a difference.
I think we've only scratched the surface
of
Les Misérables today.
There's so much more.
There's so much more to explore,
We could talk about this for hours.
The complexities of the student revolutionaries. The Thénardiers' descent into depravity.
That
big battle of Waterloo. So much more.
So much more.
But I think we've provided a good starting point.
A good foundation.
For our listeners to go out and
jump in. We've explored some of the key characters, themes, and historical context that make this novel so compelling.
Hopefully we've inspired them to
inspire them to dive in and explore it further.
On their own. Yeah.
Well, it has been such a pleasure discussing Les Misérables with you today.
Oh, thanks. Likewise.
Huge thank you to our expert for sharing their insights.
Oh, you're welcome.
And guiding us through this complex and thought-provoking material.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your own curiosity about Les Misérables.
It's a book that really has...
It's a novel that has something to offer everyone.
Something for everyone.
Yeah.
Regardless of their background or literary experience. So until next time.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.